Hey everyone, thanks for joining me tonight as I play Samurai Shodown, originally for the Neo Geo, but this is coming to us thanks to the Samurai Shodown Collection on the Nintendo Switch. If you like what you see tonight, just search for Samurai Shodown for whatever system you own. There's a 95% chance the game's available for it. SNK is not one to shy away from porting and emulating anywhere. So let's go ahead and jump into the game here. It's a one-on-one fighting game. You got a cast of 12 characters. I often pick either Haomaru or Galford, but I'll pick Haomaru tonight because he's a more recognizable character. And I usually last longer with him when I don't change the difficulty settings. It's been a while since I played this game on a actual Neo Geo or anything approximating it, so to say I'm rusty is an understatement. Plus, I'm rocking the Pro controller tonight and not a joystick. I will say, if you're playing fighting games on the Nintendo Switch, the 8-bit do pads, especially the Sega Genesis style ones, are great for fighting games. So if you don't want to pop 80 to 100 and some odd bucks for an arcade stick, an 8-bit do SG30, I think it is awesome. Ouch. So as you can see, this is a one-on-one fighting game. Sort of in the same vein of Street Fighter, but a little bit different pacing. You gotta be a little bit more methodical. Judge your opponent a little bit better, and definitely you gotta know how the computer cheats. Because it does. So the reason why I picked this game to play is, apart from Street Fighter 2, this is actually one of the fighting games that meant the most to me in my late high school, early college years. This was the one that arcades tended to have plentiful when the Street Fighter machines were full. And when this game came out, I was just struck by the style of it. I mean, you've got basically samurai warriors, mythical warriors fighting it out. And the other thing is, the animation quality and just everything about it is so much better than what most companies, save for Capcom, were doing at the time. SNK really hit it out of the park with this one. Now, granted, I will say that Samurai Shodown 2 is definitely the better game. It improved on this one in so many ways, but it's not the one that kind of made me love the franchise. Now, you might be wondering, why didn't I go after when I had the POW meter there? And that's because the CPU, if you have POW, will read your inputs and basically hand you your ass. So unless I'm playing a certain matchup, I usually avoid them when I'm that jacked up. I'm not thinking I'll get too far. Like I said, I'm rusty. And besides, the final boss on this game is one of the most unfair bosses. I mean, he's not as bad as some of the Fatal Fury bosses, but still pretty bad. I also love how this game has like a little referee in the middle, kind of observing the match. That's just a great touch. Ouch. If I don't get cocky here, I can pretty much nail it. Yep. That's kind of what you have to do when the difficulty level is set to 4 and above. You've got to exploit what you can, because the computer's just going to exploit you. I used to play this game a lot in college. Me and my friend Don, if we went to the arcade and the Street Fighter machines were full, we'd play this game. You know, have a pretty good time. This game's a lot more fun with human players than the computer. But alas, here we are. I always used to love Earthquake. I could never really play well with him, but he's just a great character. Just large as heck. Nowadays, the Neo Geo console is crazy expensive. I mean, it's always been crazy expensive, but the games have gotten up there in price as well. There never were that many of them made, and, collectors being what they are, they take them out of circulation. Now, I had the unfortunate luck of having a Neo Geo back before it really, really, got popular. Um, Yeah, I had one in 94 and 95. I think by 96 I had sold it to get more Saturn stuff, which, big mistake. If you're familiar with the Neo Geo and the timing on that, that was really about a year before the greater set of fighting games started coming out. The Real Bout Fatal Furies, the King of the Fighters 97, 98. Samurai Shodown 3 and 4, the Metal Slug games. I mean, basically everything good for the Neo Geo. Basically, I would say 98% of it came out from 97 onward. But of course, I sold mine before then. But this was one game I had a ton of fun with it. And it was another one of those fighting games that people who didn't necessarily like the fighting genre could enjoy because it had a different look to it, a different style. I mean, you gotta love this. I mean, a giant fat dude with a hook and a chain fighting a samurai in the middle of the American desert. I mean, why not? At least I assume it's the American desert. Looks like the Grand Canyon to me. Ouch. One thing I like about the Nintendo Switch Samurai Shodown Collection is, in addition to being able to choose scan lines and TV filters and stuff, they're not blurry like the hamster releases, what do they call it? The Arcade Archives or the Neo Geo Archives. They didn't apply a blur filter them, so you can have your scan lines, but they're sharp, so it keeps that old school look better. And I like scan lines. I think it just makes the graphics pop a little bit better, but hate the blur filter that they like to put on games. Gotta love a character whose main attack is to throw away his weapon. Also the rain in the background. This level has style for days. The other thing I found cool is a lot of these stages kind of have embellishments near the front that make it suggest that you're on a stage acting out sort of a play. Also, this guy is kicking my ass. I want to recount. I want to file a lawsuit in Georgia. That was bad news. What an awesome game. Challenging as all heck on a MVS 4 difficulty. This collection's awesome. It has all the American versions of Samurai Shodown and the Japanese versions. It even has the final version of Samurai Shodown 5, which I actually prefer Samurai Shodown 5 Special more than that, but hey, if you're a completist, it's here. Now, of course, if you're like me and you owned half of the games on the Arcade Archives first, you might not want to pay like 30 or 40 bucks for this collection. I get that. But if you didn't already own them, this is an awesome value. Can't complain. He punted me on top of that food. Of course, now I've got the POW and that was just good timing. It's like we're gonna go to the rubber match. Even when Samurai Shodown 2 came out and really made this game obsolete, the original version was still plentiful. You'd find it in MVS cabinets all over the place because it had staying power. It also helped that Neo Geo cabinets could hold 4 games in them, And a lot of the places that had those cabinets, they'd switch out one or two games, but they didn't want to refresh all of them at once, you know? The irony is the MVS cartridges used to be very expensive, and the home cartridges were cheaper. Uh, but nowadays, it's the reverse. But then there are so many people who are hacking Neo Geo systems to make them into consoles, and you can get all these multi-carts and flash carts and everything. It really is a great time if you're a Neo Geo collector and want to get into the system. I mean, that's not me, but, you know, if you wanted to, you could definitely do it, and you might spend some bucks, but you'll get away cheaper than if you tried to get mint copies of, say, Metal Slug and Neo Turf Masters. Great golf game, but not worth what they want to charge for it. Aw, missed one. Oh, that was unfair. I should have got that one. Playing all these fighting games kind of makes me wish I had someone nearby who actually liked playing these. It's kind of a tough call, especially in current pandemic conditions. Although I think a friend of mine up in Owasso, I might be able to cajole her into playing fighting games with me somewhat in the future if things die down. It's always nice when you meet a fellow nerd. I love this stage so much. Uh, there's a stage similar to this in Last Blade 2, which is another awesome game, and really kind of the evolution of Samurai Shodown's gameplay. Um, they did come out with a more modern version of Samurai Shodown for the PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch called Samurai Shodown. I think it might have a title attached to it. I don't want to butcher it, but yeah, there's a newer 3D-esque version of Samurai Shodown. It's okay, but it's a little too slow-paced for my blood. Yeah, I'm probably going to lose to Hanzo. He's just hitting me for a ton of damage. But after he beats me, I will run out the clock and pick a different character, because why not? I always used to love that too. This was in the era of Mortal Kombat, and Samurai Shodown's violence is a lot more toned down, but it's fitting where it needs to be. So yeah, as you saw, you can cut somebody in half, which is awesome. You can cut someone in half. Sometimes coins or a food pop out. Let's see here. Who should we play? Yeah, I'll play Galford, I guess. Galford on Galford. Nothing worse than dogfighting. Come on, man. Haven't you guys learned? This stage music is great. I done lost my sword. The scaling effects are just so impressive in games like this, and the Neo Geo was just a perfect system to really take advantage of them. Games like Art of Fighting and Fatal Fury took advantage of the scaling effects, but I don't think they were as impressive as they are here in Samurai Shodown and its sequels. They just make more sense in these games. Aw, poor doggy. Galford is a fun character because you can send Poppy, his dog, after the enemy. Unfortunately, the Pro controller is not very good for fighting games. It doesn't like to register diagonals very much, so it's hard to send Poppy out. There we go. I had to use the analog stick for that. Fighting with an analog stick is definitely not optimal, though. Oh man, good timing. Alright, enough of that craziness. Now it's good that the Nintendo Switch collection here has the Japanese versions of the game, because with Samurai Shodown 2, with people getting so pissed off about Mortal Kombat, the blood in the US version was, I think it was green. I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it was green. And that's just ridiculous. I can't believe they censored games like this. And the worst thing is, SNK did that for years afterwards for no goddamn reason. I mean, it wasn't little kids that were playing Neo Geo games, either in the arcade or at home, because the Neo Geo AES console cost $600, and its games when they were brand new cost $200. It's not child's play even today. He's getting aggressive, making it difficult for me to perform special attacks, which is fine. Oop. I knew any attack I was going to do would be immediately countered. You kind of get used to that playing against the CPU on this game. I feel like Samurai Shodown 2 actually took away a little bit of that computer, I wouldn't say advantage, but it definitely did tone it down somewhat. Definitely didn't take it all away. Oh, Tam Tam is a great character. I was sad that they took him out of Samurai Shodown 2. This was my friend Don's favorite character. Rest in peace. Because his last name was Tam. And so, of course, a character that was named Tam Tam was double awesome, right? Actually, Tam Tam is a fun character to play. In terms of lasting value, I think the game does hold up pretty well, especially if you forgive some of its foibles, like the computer reading your inputs and suddenly getting either super hard or super strong at random. There's just a style to it that's timeless, and it's got the fun factor. I do think that, though, if I had to pick one game, I'd pick Samurai Shodown 2. Just because it smooths out the rough edges, you got a few more characters to play. But of course, if you get this collection, then you don't have to decide between one or the other. Oh, that is totally not right. I don't know how he comboed into that, but he did. I'm getting away from him because he is now super strong. Yeah, I had no chance there when he hit me with that that previous move. Anything was going to tick me down. I really should have grabbed my joystick for this one. I gotta remember that with fighting games on the Switch. The Switch is a great system, don't get me wrong. I think it's my favorite of the modern consoles just because for a guy like me who likes retro games, there's so many available. But its default controls for certain games are not optimal. But a lot of USB controllers work just fine, a lot of Bluetooth controllers work just fine, so it's a problem that can be remedied rather cheaply. I mean, I have a pricey arcade stick I can plug into this thing, I have a cheaper one I can plug into it. And then, of course, I have the 8-bit-do controllers, which are very affordable. I don't know what the computer was thinking there, but thank you? I just love that he throws his dog a bone and right after the battle. Oh, I'm glad we're going to Ukio's stage. What a beautiful stage. He might kick my butt, and if he does, that's just fine. Jirayu Isle or Janryu Isle, depending on which version of the game you're playing, is just a beautiful stage. Crashing waves, fireworks in the background. This stage is even more impressive in later Samurai Shodown games when they add the bridge and all that other stuff. Another cool thing about this game is every warrior kind of has their own backstory. Like, they're sort of based on historical figures, and Ukio's tragic backstory is that he has a disease, I think tuberculosis, and he's dying. So this is kind of his last hurrah. But he's also a ladies' man. So kind of like a samurai warrior version of Moulin Rouge in reverse. And I never thought I'd link Moulin Rouge to Samurai Shodown, but it's 2020, and here we are. An expert Ukio player can basically devastate you or the computer using about 3 different moves. I don't have that particular skill that I used to. Also, you need a joystick to really pull it off. But his, what do they call it? Rising Phoenix or whatever it is. Yeah, that move right there. You can time it so you can pull it off in any degree of midair, and it is just amazing. It slaughters the computer, the final boss, everybody. Nothing like slicing an artery and the guy falls down. Violent, bloody, yes, but a far cry from Mortal Kombat back in the day. And there's the first appearance of the boss of the game, Amaxa. Amaxa Shiro Tokusada. Tell you, these things are very touchy. Not sure I have much more to say. I mean, I'll keep playing until I lose, which probably will be the next round. I mean, it's Samurai Shodown. It's pretty awesome. It's available on the Nintendo Switch. If you get it, I would highly suggest getting a better controller. I would not mind losing to Charlotte here. She's a great character, strong female character. The music's great, the stage is great, it's awesome. Okay, that made me laugh. Oh, nuts. I gotta chalk that win up to the bombs. That definitely wasn't skill. Man, I just can't buy a bucket there. Oh. She is owning me like LeBron James owned Milwaukee back in the day. Like Michael Jordan owned the Pistons. Totally worth it. Alright. That's pretty much Samurai Shodown. Awesome game. So I'm going to bring the video to the end and get it uploaded here. Till next time, see ya!